Rolling in at the last second. Yeah. Kids are being fun tonight. All right, I'd like to call the August Plan Commission meeting to order tonight at 6:30. If everyone would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance. The flag. All right, everyone's got their mics on. Doesn't look like we've got anyone online, but just in case we can be heard. Oh, Alex is on. Alex, can you hear us? Excellent. All right. Andy, can you give us a roll call, please?
Dan Justice, Jason Snyder,
Here.
Amanda Jeschke,
Here.
Nathan Sturdevant,
Here.
Brittany Layton,
Here.
Jason Stein.
Present. All right. Thank you. And I want to welcome everybody to the August Plan Commission meeting for the town of Fortville. I think we'll move into approval of the July meeting minutes. Has everyone had a chance to review? Are there any comments, changes?
Are they July or June? I'm confused.
Oh, I apologize. June.
Well, when I read, we didn't have a meeting July, right?
Correct. We had no meeting in July. They are the June 6/27/2023 meeting minutes. All right, if there are no changes, no comments, I'd look for a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the meetings from June 27th, 2023.
Second. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right. Motion passes. Excuse me. Next, we will move to the section for new business. Tonight, we will hear one case number RZ02-2023 and STP-03-2023, the AutoZone site rezone and site plan for the Plan Commission to consider a petition by AutoZone seeking a positive recommendation to the town council to rezone approximately 1.68 acres east of the Three Rivers Credit Union from commercial neighborhood to commercial community. And 2, a conditional approval from the commission on the concept site plan and related plans. All right, Adam, can you give us the staff presentation, please?
All right, for the record, I'm Adam Zaklikowski, the Planning and Building Director for the town. All right, so as the president mentioned, tonight we're taking a look at the AutoZone rezone and concept plans. Involves about 1.68 acres from commercial neighborhood CN to commercial community CC. It's at the southwest corner of Broadway and I guess the old Garden Street, east of Three Rivers Credit Union. And the reason for this tonight is that auto parts sales per the zoning ordinance is not permitted in CN zoning, but it is allowed in CC zoning. So just as some quick background, in Fortville, we have 3 different commercial zoning designations. And there's some minor changes between them, but they vary in density from commercial neighborhoods at the low end, lowest intensity, I should say. Then it moves up to commercial community CC, which is the most common zoning district in the town. And then it moves up to commercial regional, which is the last one is pretty rare. So AutoZone would also like to acquire conditional approval of concept plans that would include the site plan, landscape, lighting, and building elevations. And of course, they'd be conditioned upon rezone approval by the council and BZA approval of a few variances. Processing it this way allows for efficient processing of these real estate entitlements. So from the aerial photo on Beacon, this area was taken back in 2021. You can see the parcel map of where this is located. Again, it's on the north side of Broadway, US 36, near the Vitality Drive and Garden Street intersection. If we take a look at the aerial photo from this year, you can see the Three Rivers Credit Union over to the west that was recently built. And then here is an oblique aerial, and we can always refer to these as necessary, of course. You can see there is a waterway that goes through the property. So if we take a look at the current zoning map, you can see that the light pink is commercial neighborhood, and then the red is commercial community CC, which is found most commonly along Broadway and Main Street. And then coincidentally, the commercial regional parcel is the dark red up to the northwest. Just some basic site pictures. We can always reference these, just showing what the property looks like today. You can see the Three Rivers Bank off to the background. And then here at the kind of the eastern edge of the site, you can see where the old Garden Street used to be when it connected with Broadway at this location. And there's still a path, walking trail or biking trail that's over here right now, which connects to that dead end road. So here's the concept site plan that they filed, and we'll, of course, get into more detail momentarily. But generally speaking, you can see the building is on the west side of the property, and it faces east. As you can see, it is kind of a uniquely shaped parcel, but it's a triangle, and quite a bit of the eastern portion of the property is either in floodplain or floodway, but the building itself would not be in any floodplain. We'll go into more detail on that momentarily. Looking at the rezone in terms of the town council review, it did go for first reading, or what we call an introductory reading of this rezone ordinance, which you're looking at here tonight, number 2023-8A. And that occurred on August 21st. And at that meeting, council appeared to be supportive of the request. In terms of community response, all of the public hearing requirements have been met for this meeting, this public hearing, including a sign posting, a mailing to nearby property owners, and newspaper publication. It was in the Greenfield Reporter. And there's no known remonstrance to this at this time. Now on the rezone element, if you recall, there are evaluation criteria that state law requires you to at least consider as part of your recommendation. So we'll go through each of these quickly right now. The first thing that the law asks you to look at is and consider is it consistent with the comprehensive plan? Simply put, yes, it is. The town of Fortville future growth concept map from March of 2016 identified this area as commercial. And if you take a look at the map here, the area circled in red is a red area of commercial. Secondly, is this consistent with the current conditions and the character of current structures? Really taking to mean if you were to do a massive rezone of existing of property with existing buildings on it. In this particular case, obviously the property is undeveloped. However, upon completion of the project, CC zoning would be consistent with the conditions and character of the structure. Third item is it consistent with the most desirable use of land? I'd say yes, from a staff perspective. The reason being is that the comprehensive plan identifies this area as commercial. And of course, given its location along a major arterial, Broadway, this parcel is also desirable for commercial from a market perspective. Fourth item is this action consistent with conservation of property values throughout the jurisdiction? I'd say yes. A well-planned project with a high degree of aesthetic enhancements will maximize property values. And lastly, is it consistent with responsible growth and development? My opinion would be yes, really for the same response that was provided with the previous evaluation item number 4. So with that on the rezone, I recommend that the Plan Commission grant a favorable recommendation to the Town Council for that. And then moving right along into the site plan review. As I mentioned, they're seeking concept site plan approval, building elevations, lighting and landscaping, all concept. I mentioned that approval is conditional, meaning that it'll only be effect when and if the rezone is approved. And should be noted that this project is within the corridor overlay per the zoning ordinance, which has a few different upgraded standards. In terms of the project analysis, the basic overview of typical review items per the zoning ordinance we'll go through. The project was emailed to the technical review committee in early August for a concept review. And the folks on that committee include myself from planning, Joe Renner, Public Works and Town Management, Town Engineer, County Surveyor, and the Vernon Township Fire Department, in addition to INDOT. So going through some of the various aspects of the project. First, access. There would be one full vehicular access point to Broadway, and it'd be 24 feet wide at the right-of-way line. Of course, that opening would be subject to INDOT review and approval since it is on their roadway. And then there would be another full vehicular access point to West Garden Street to the north. The width is approximately 32 feet at the right-of-way line, and they would need a variance from the BZA likely in September. That'd be needed because it exceeds 24 feet max. They're claiming that it's needed for truck access. Lastly, in terms of access for pedestrian access, there'd be an 8-foot wide asphalt path, which would be extended from Three Rivers frontage along Garden Street. And it would connect to the existing path in the old garden right-of-way east of the ditch. And they would utilize the existing bridge, and the path would cross over that bridge, and there would be striping to delineate that walkway. In terms of the thoroughfare plan, they are showing 50-foot half-street right-of-way, which is per the Trace Rios plat for Three Rivers. It's 100 feet full street right-of-way that's required along that corridor, since it is a major arterial. And then they are providing a curb street along Broadway, which would be provided as required per the thoroughfare plan and the zoning ordinance. If we take a look at the setbacks and lot coverage per the CC zoning, this property has a front setback along Broadway, along the south side of the building, and that's a front setback. So the minimum is 50 feet that is needed. They are providing approximately 25 feet. So they would need a variance from the BZA for that particular number. On the north side, along Garden, or Old Garden, I think maybe we should call it, minimum of 50 feet as well as needed because it's a front setback along right-of-way. They're providing about 37 feet, and a variance from the BZA would be needed. So there are 3 different variances that would be necessary. On the west side of the building, the setback requirement is 15 feet, and they're providing 15 feet, so no issues there. And then same thing for maximum lot coverage, which that means all of the paved surfaces plus the footprint of the roof. The maximum that's allowed in CC zoning is 75%, and they're providing 40%, so no issues there. And again, here is the site plan. You can certainly come back to this for any questions that you might have. In terms of the drainage and floodplain review, the site is fairly flat and it partially lies within a floodplain and floodway, as I mentioned. The Hancock County Surveyor's Office will review the drainage plan and the floodplain boundaries to ensure that water is retained on site and that the building pad is built high enough, if applicable. And then right-of-way drainage will need NDOT approval, just like the driveway opening. And I was told by the applicant's engineer that they're likely looking to do underground detention because of the restrictions on doing retention ponds in floodplains and floodways. Moving on to parking, the amount that they're providing would be 2 spaces plus 2 handicap accessible spaces. So that'd be 28 total. And the zoning ordinance requires 1 space per 300 square feet. So only 23 spaces would be required. So there are no issues there. In this particular part of town, we don't have any parking maximums. Also, those non-ADA spaces are 10 by 20 as required. Parking lot is curbed as required. And then parking aisles are at least 24 feet wide. So no issues there. In terms of project screening, the dumpster will be located at the north side of the building, and it will contain a masonry screen wall to match the architecture of the building and a gate. No buffer yards are required for this particular project in addition to the setback areas because commercial zoning is adjacent to it. And then for parking lot screening, they will be providing a continuous row of evergreen landscaping to screen the parking area as required by the ordinance. And I'll show you that momentarily. Take a look at the concept landscape plan here. You can see that it is very well landscaped. Has a number of trees around the perimeter of the property and that parking lot screen. They also do have some trees and some shrubs along the west side of the property and the south side of the building as well. And that's all in accordance with the commercial landscaping requirements in the ordinance. And they're not using any invasive species. So moving right along to the concept building elevations, you can see those here. They're also in your packet. It's not a typical AutoZone prototype. It is upgraded and it's a unique exterior. In terms of the building height, planned to be 23 feet tall, maximum allowed per the CC zoning district is 45 feet, so no issues there. The building is planned to be approximately 6,800 square feet. And any roof mounted mechanical units would be screened by a parapet wall. In terms of the building materials that are in your packet, it'd be predominantly brick, 2 different color bands with a stone wainscot around the entire building. The entry feature is ephes, and it also includes a flat metal canopy. In terms of the projected elements, they do a 1-foot projection on the front and on the rear of the building. For lighting, they will be providing decorative lights on the entry feature, that ephes area of the building. And other building mounted lights are shielded and pointed downward, as are the parking lot lights that are planned, which would be 25 feet tall, the maximum allowed in that zoning district. And if we take a look at the concept lighting or the photometric plan here, you can see the light fixtures on the side. And then on this bottom right corner is the decorative fixtures that they put at the front of the building. Much like the Rezone case, we're not aware of any remonstrance at this point. And same thing, all public hearing requirements were completed in conjunction with the rezone, included the sign posting, the mailing, and the newspaper publication. So lastly, in terms of my recommendation, I'd recommend that you approve the concept plans, which would be the site plan, landscaping, building elevations, and lighting, with the following condition. that it is subject to rezone approval by the town council and approval of variances by the BZA. And then lastly, the next steps on this project, if it is approved, the engineer would file final civil construction plans, basically for the site work based on these approved concept plans with town staff. And they'd also file final building plans for the actual building permit. And as I mentioned, the drainage would undergo a full review by the county surveyor's office during the final civil construction plans. They didn't seem to have any issue with the concept plans going forward. So with that, if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to address those. And the applicant's engineer is here from Kentucky as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Adam. Prior to moving to the petitioner, are there any questions for Adam this time?
I
go
have a
ahead.
question. Adam, at what point will, so I'm assuming that they will have to do, an erosion control plan for this project, being so close to a floodway and having that waterway within the project, they'll have to do an erosion control to prevent further degradation to the stream
Mhm.
downstream.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
That would come as part of the final civil construction documents. And so those erosion control, also known as SWIP plans, those are done for just about every commercial project and residential projects. Things like the silt fence, construction entrance, concrete washout areas. And we do have, as part of our drainage, the final civil plans, when they're reviewed by the county surveyor's office for drainage, they take those plus the SWIP plan to a third-party reviewer who does the entire review, including erosion control. So yeah, it'll be
Okay.
absolutely imperative in this case because we do have that waterway over there.
that's all I had.
I've got two quick questions for you, Adam. First, does the corridor overlay say anything about the orientation of the building? In other words, does the building, that there's no concern that this is oriented not facing Broadway?
Well, no,
Okay.
not to my recollection or that I came across. What I do know is that in the zoning ordinance, there's a maximum amount of 80% of the parking can be along, can be in front of the building and the street. So in this particular case, it actually is consistent with what the ordinance is prescribing of having the parking off to the side. And
Okay.
you had a second question?
Yeah, along those lines, there's nothing in the overlay about access management on Broadway. The only reason I asked that is because the Three Rivers parcel to the west does not have access. And so I was curious if that was something that was taken into consideration, if there's any, I'm guessing it's silent, but just curious on if there's anything that's
Yeah.
stated for access there.
Sure, we do have an access management ordinance
Right.
and for local streets, that always applies. Honestly, for state roads, since it is going to be reviewed and approved by NDOT and it's not really our jurisdiction anyway, we just defer that to NDOT. What I would say is, generally speaking, we wanted to get the driveway as far away from the intersection of Vitality as possible. And this is quite a good distance. And so at least from my non-engineering perspective, it didn't seem to be problematic, but it seemed to be reasonable.
Sure.
But
Okay.
certainly I would defer to NDOT.
Excellent, thank you. All right, any other questions for Adam? No. Okay, we will move forward. I would invite anyone from the petitioner to join us up at the front. please say and spell your name and how you represent the case.
Sure. My name is Nick West. That's NICKWEST. I'm with Prism Engineering. We're the engineer for AutoZone on this project. Be happy to answer any questions. Honestly, I'd say some things about it, but you know, Adam did a great job, so I'll just defer to his little presentation there, but I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have.
All right, thank you. Any questions for the petitioner at this time? All right. Well, we may have you back up, but
Okay.
we'll see what public response looks like.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. All right, is there anybody on Zoom outside of Mr. Intermill?
Let's see. I think we might have had a rep from AutoZone. The property owner, Michael Nation, is on the line, and then Alex.
Okay. Well, I guess I will invite anybody who is on Zoom, since we can't see you, if you would like to speak on this case, please do so. Please state your name and address, please. All right, that's what I expected. Well, we will. Oh, there we go. All right, well, hearing nothing, we'll move on. Any government officials in the room would, if you'd like to speak, this would be your chance to come up to the front and say anything. No? All right. We're moving right along.
Excuse me, Nathan.
Yeah.
I just want to mention, Alex, I think I put the dog to sleep. Because he or she was pretty chipper at the beginning, very studious. And now I can just see the back paws.
You're the dog whisperer, Adam. He's put him right out.
We're recording this, right? So it
Yeah.
can be used again.
That's right.
In case anybody's dog is just acting out. Okay, excellent. All right, well, since I don't think we'll need the petitioner rebuttal after that robust conversation, I think we can move right on to any final comments, clarifications from the commission at this time. For Adam or the petitioner. Okay, well, hearing nothing, I will request a motion from the commission to approve with conditions, or deny both, and we can do them separately or together, the positive recommendation for the rezone, as well as the site plan, landscape plan, and lighting plan and building elevations. I apologize for the site.
I motion to approve as presented for the site, for the proposition, the site plan, and the other elements as we discussed today.
With the conditions that were stated.
There's only the one condition in there, so I consider that as present. Yeah.
All right, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, any conversation now that we've got,
Yeah, is this just for the site plan, landscape plan, building elevations and lighting plan, or is this also for the rezone as well?
For all of it as stated with the condition.
Okay, just
Yeah.
verifying. That's all I'm doing.
and Alex, we can lump the rezone in with the approval of those other four, because those are approvals versus positive recommendation, or should we break them out?
It's fine to combine them so long as no one has an issue with one or the other. So the motion is made is perfectly fine. If it doesn't pass, then we break it apart and figure out which pieces need to be addressed more specifically.
Thank you. All right,
All right.
any other conversation?
Nope.
All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I think that carried unanimously. And any abstain? No, okay. Well, thank you very much. Congratulations. We are excited to see this move forward. Let's see, anything else on the agenda?
I don't know, I've lost it.
Okay, any commission comments, board comments for the evening?
Just one question. I know we've lost a member. Do we have one coming? Just curious.
Yeah, that's a great question. So we did publicized via Facebook, the web, a candidate for the Plan Commission. And we did receive some interested folks. There were 3 people. And so Cheyenne Hoffa, if you'll recall, was both on the redevelopment commission and the plan commission. As it pertains to this particular body, the plan commission member seat that she vacated needs to be filled by somebody who is either elected or already on another board or commission. It doesn't have to be the redevelopment commission, but it could be. So the bottom line is we had 3 people that were interested. They came to the last council meeting, but there was one person who was unable to attend but is interested. And so the council decided to wait for the other person to come back. And I think at their next meeting after Labor Day, I believe you should hear from all 3 of them. So hopefully we'll have an appointment. And then lastly, since we're on that topic, there is a way that there's a way that 2 out of the 3 people could serve on our boards. We could have one person on the redevelopment commission and one person on the plan commission. The only thing that would have to happen is, and we've done something like this before, is Amanda, for example, you could move into a slot of, instead of a citizen member as you are right now, it would be an appointed member because you're on the BZA, for example. Because I think that's the one seat that Nathan's in. So basically you'd move into that one, and then one of the other folks would backfill the true citizen
I see.
slot. So basically there's 4 seats that are these citizen members, and there's supposed to be, per law, 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans, and then the remaining 3 seats are all appointed or elected officials. So long story short, we're working on it, and hopefully by next meeting we'll have somebody.
All right. Thanks.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you all for coming tonight. Very much appreciate the input. And with that, I will look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a second?
I'll second.
All right. At 7:02, we are adjourned. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Okay, these papers that we have in front of us, are we supposed to